Have you ever felt like you're slowly losing your mind after a simple conversation with a certain someone? One minute you're talking about the weather or your plans for the evening, and the next you're somehow responsible for every problem under the sun. Sound familiar? Today we're breaking down the ultimate strategy to put a narcissist in their place and reclaim your peace of mind for good. I promise that by the end of this video, you'll have a tool in your hands that completely changes the game. Most people think the best defense is to fight back or get aggressive, but that's a huge mistake. The truth is, there is only one way to beat a manipulator, and it's anything but obvious. Before we dive in, let me know in the comments, have you ever tried to win an argument with a toxic person? How did that end for you? Let's see how many of us have been through this. First, let's get some perspective. We hear the word narcissist everywhere these days, but it's not just about someone who loves their reflection or takes too many selfies. Real narcissism, whether it's the full disorder or just extreme traits, is a deeply complex defense mechanism. At the core of a manipulator's personality lies a massive, gaping void and total insecurity. To survive and avoid facing that pain, they construct a false self, a grandiose ego that requires constant external validation. Psychologists call this narcissistic supply. That supply is your emotions, your admiration, your fear, and even your tears. They literally feed on knocking you off balance. Once you realize this simple truth, you've already taken the first step toward your freedom. So, let's get into the actual steps. The first and most important rule is what's known as the grey rock method. Picture a plain grey rock sitting by the side of the road. Does a rock like that trigger any kind of emotion? Probably not. You barely even notice it's there. That is exactly what you need to become for a manipulator. Boring, uninteresting, and completely unremarkable. This flips the script on the popular myth that you have to fight back or shout to prove your point. A narcissist craves drama. They want to see you cry, lose your temper, or desperately try to justify yourself. When you stop giving them that reaction, you are literally cutting off their oxygen. For example, say someone makes a cutting remark about your appearance. Instead of getting upset or yelling, you simply shrug and say, in a perfectly calm, flat voice, "Yeah, maybe you're right." And that's it. No emotion. It disarms them instantly. Your boredom is your most powerful shield. But what should you do if your emotions are still bubbling just below the surface? The second vital step in your defense is building rock-solid boundaries. You need to fully embrace the fact that you have the right to say no without offering any explanation. The problem with toxic people is that they don't see boundaries as rules. They see them as challenges. They will keep knocking on your door over and over again. This is where you apply a simple technique, stating the consequences. You aren't just asking them to stop, you are setting a rule and defining the penalty. Picture this. Someone starts raising their voice or insulting you. You calmly state, "If you continue to yell, I am walking away, and we will not speak for 3 days." The most important part is the follow-through. If the shouting continues, you must actually turn around and leave. The idea that adults can always work things out through conversation is a myth when it comes to manipulators. They don't listen to words, they only understand actions. Now let's break down the third element, the principle of emotional starvation. We've already discussed how a manipulator feeds off your reactions, but what's really happening behind the scenes? When you try to show a narcissist that they've hurt you, you're making a massive mistake. You think you're appealing to their empathy or their conscience, but all they see is their absolute power over you. They push a button, and you react. To them, that is a triumph. This is why keeping your vulnerabilities to yourself is absolutely vital. Never share your deepest fears or doubts with someone like this. For example, if you're stressed about work and you open up to them looking for support, mark my words, that information will be weaponized against you the moment you are most vulnerable. Your inner world must become a no-go zone for them. Step 4 is about reclaiming your own reality. Narcissists are experts at twisting the truth. They will look you straight in the eye and deny something ever happened with such absolute conviction that you'll start to question your own sanity. This is gaslighting. Your most effective defense is to stop seeking validation from the person who is hurting you. Let's debunk a myth. You will never get them to admit they lied. They will stick to their version of the story until the very end. So when they tell you that never happened, or you're just making things up, your response should be, I remember it differently and I trust my memory. Period. Do not get drawn into a debate. Do not present evidence. Your sense of reality should never depend on their approval. Think of it this way. If you're looking at a green apple and someone tries to convince you it's blue, you wouldn't stand there and argue with them, would you? You wouldn't try to prove a point to someone who is clearly delusional. You simply know the apple is green. The fifth pillar of your defense is the refusal to make excuses. In psychology, there is a powerful rule known as JADE. It stands for don't justify, don't argue, don't defend, and don't explain. The moment you start making excuses, you've already accepted the role of the guilty party. This is exactly what a manipulator wants. They don't ask provocative questions because they want an answer. They ask them to throw you off balance and force you into a defensive shell. For example, if someone snaps, "Why didn't you do what I asked?" and you start listing reasons, you've already lost. Instead, take back the initiative. Flip the script by asking, "Why is this such a major concern for you right now?" Or simply state, "I made that decision because I felt it was the right thing to do." Remember, the fewer words you use to justify your actions, the fewer openings you give them to keep the conflict alive. Part 6 is all about the power of strategic silence. We're often taught that pauses are awkward or a sign of weakness, but when you're dealing with toxic people, silence is actually your superpower. When a narcissist throws an absurd accusation at you or tries to bait you into an argument, they are desperate for an immediate reaction. Don't give it to them. Make them wait. Look them straight in the eye, take a slow, deep breath, and just stay silent for about 10 seconds. Believe me, to a manipulator, those 10 seconds will feel like an eternity. It completely breaks their script. In that moment, they're the ones who start feeling foolish because their words are just hanging there, ignored. Here's a perfect example. Someone says something rude to you at a family dinner. Instead of snapping back or storming off, you slowly put down your fork, look them right in the eye in total silence, and then simply turn to another guest and change the subject. That is a masterclass in psychological dominance. The seventh tactic is all about sticking to the facts. Dealing with a manipulator often feels like being lost in a thick fog of emotions, outbursts, and confusion. Your job is to become a detached, objective observer. In a professional setting, always get agreements in writing. In your personal life, keep a journal or jot down notes on your phone after any significant conversation. Remember, this isn't about gathering evidence to confront them. We've already established that trying to prove anything to a manipulator is a waste of time. These notes are for you. The next time you start second-guessing yourself, wondering if you're the one overreacting, go back and read your notes. Look at the raw facts. You'll see, clear as day, that the problem isn't you. It's the reality check you need to stay grounded. Facts are the ultimate antidote to the emotional poison they're trying to feed you. Secret number 8 is a total game changer, understanding the mechanism of projection. All those horrible things a narcissist says about you actually have nothing to do with you at all. They are literally describing themselves. That is exactly what psychological projection looks like. If they accuse you of being selfish, it's because in that moment they feel their own selfishness but can't admit it. If they scream that nobody wants you, they are actually voicing their own deepest, darkest fear. Once you truly grasp this, you'll stop taking the insults to heart. Think about it. They'll call you hysterical or unstable at the exact moment they are the ones losing control and lashing out. In those moments, try to see them for what they really are, like a small child who's terrified of the dark. Just tell yourself, this isn't about me, this is a reflection of their own inner pain. When you do that, their words lose the power to hurt you. Step 9. Confronting the word salad. This is a favorite tactic for manipulators. They'll talk in circles, jumping from topic to topic and dragging up irrelevant details from years ago. The goal is simple: to confuse you and derail the conversation. We're often told that we need to listen closely to understand someone, but with a manipulator, that rule backfires. As soon as you feel the conversation spiraling or you've lost track of how it even started, use the broken record technique. Bring it back to the original point. Say, "That's all very interesting, but right now we are discussing this specific issue." Repeat that phrase as many times as necessary. Don't let them pull you into their verbal vortex. Stay focused on the one thing that actually matters. The 10th tactic is about how you view apologies. You have to let go of the hope that a narcissist will ever give you a sincere "I'm sorry." If they do apologize, it's usually a mockery. They'll say things like, "I'm sorry you're so sensitive," or "I'm sorry you misunderstood me." These aren't apologies, they're hidden accusations. Your strategy is to stop demanding remorse. You will never find justice in their world. Once you let go of that illusion, you'll feel 1,000 times better. Accept the simple fact that this person will never take responsibility for their actions. Facing this bitter truth is incredibly liberating. It frees up all the energy you've been wasting on endless arguments that lead nowhere. Step 11 is about mastering your sense of guilt. Narcissists are like master surgeons. They know exactly how to find your most sensitive spots. They'll pull on your sense of duty, your pity, or your family ties to get what they want. It's crucial to distinguish between genuine guilt for a real mistake and the toxic guilt that's being forced on you. Here's a quick gut check. Ask yourself, did I actually break a law or violate a fundamental moral principle? If you simply refused to lend someone money or chose to stay home on your only day off, you haven't done anything wrong. That is your right. The moment you feel that heavy, sticky guilt creeping in, stop and tell yourself, "This isn't mine. This is someone else's programming." You have every right to prioritize your own well-being. Protecting your interests doesn't make you a bad person. Block 12 is all about the radical acceptance of reality. We often fall into the trap of thinking that if we just act perfectly or love them hard enough, they will finally change. This is one of the most dangerous misconceptions you can have. Think of it like trying to teach a cat to bark. You could spend years on it, you could get angry or cry your heart out, but that cat is never going to bark. Narcissism is a deep-seated personality structure. It doesn't shift just because you love them or try to reason with them. Your best strategy right now is to stop waiting for a miracle. You need to take off the rose-colored glasses and look at their actual behavior, not their empty promises or the ideal future you've imagined together. Once you accept reality for what it truly is, the urge to fix them will disappear. Only then can you focus on what really matters, keeping yourself safe. The 13th element of your defense is building a safe inner circle. Toxic people always try to isolate their targets. They will criticize your friends, drive a wedge between you and your family, and try to convince you that they are the only ones who truly care about you. They do this so you lose your grip on reality and feel like you have nowhere to turn for support. That is why your top priority must be to maintain and strengthen your bonds with healthy, grounded people. Find those who can offer an objective perspective. Sometimes simply telling your story to an outsider is enough to hear them say, "Wait, that's not okay. What they're doing to you isn't normal." This external support system is what keeps you sane when an abuser tries to gaslight you and make you doubt your own mind. Do not let them cut you off from the world. Strategy 14 is all about spotting hidden attacks. Not every manipulator is loud or confrontational. There is a specific type known as the covert or vulnerable narcissist. They operate by playing the perpetual victim. They'll sigh heavily, wear a look of pure misery, and do everything in their power to make you feel like you've deeply offended them. Their goal is simple: to get you to hover over them, constantly trying to please them. Your defense strategy here is straightforward. Don't try to rescue someone who hasn't asked for help directly. If they are sitting there pouting in silence, leave them alone. Avoid asking things like, "What's wrong?" or "Did I do something to upset you?" Just take a breath and go about your business. If they need something, they can use their words and speak up like an adult. Ignoring passive-aggressive behavior is the single most effective way to shut it down. Step 15. Be prepared for the smear campaign. When a narcissist realizes they've lost control over you, they bring out the heavy artillery. They'll start telling everyone you know how terrible a person you are. In psychology, this is known as a smear campaign. The biggest mistake you can make right now is running around trying to prove your innocence to everyone you meet. That only signals insecurity. Your best tactic is to remain perfectly calm. People who truly know and value you will never believe those fairy tales, and those who are quick to believe the gossip, those are the people you don't need in your life anyway. Let the trash take itself out. Your dignified silence in the face of their hysterical lies will always speak louder than any defense. Point 16. Your independence. Any form of dependency, whether it's financial, emotional, or even where you live, acts like a leash in the hands of a manipulator. If you're in a toxic relationship, your absolute priority must be to regain your self-reliance. Start setting money aside, even if it's just a small amount. Look for side jobs and sharpen your professional skills. The simple knowledge that you can stand up and walk away at any moment gives you incredible inner strength. This confidence is felt on a subconscious level. Once an abuser realizes you aren't tied to them for survival, their power over you begins to fade. Freedom is the foundation of your invulnerability in any toxic dynamic. Tactic 17. Walking away. When people realize they're dealing with a narcissist, their first instinct is often revenge. They start diving into psychology to learn how to manipulate back, hoping to finally beat the narcissist at their own game. But that is a dead end. You can't outplay a card shark at his own table. For him, this game is his entire life. For you, it's just a painful chapter. By seeking revenge, you continue to feed them your energy. You keep them alive in your mind. True victory isn't about getting the last word, it's about reaching a point of total indifference. When you genuinely stop caring what they think, what they're doing, or how they're living, that is when you've truly won. Don't play their game, just leave the field. Step 18. Identifying the sugar show. You need to be ready for the moment the manipulator flips the switch. After a period of cruelty, or when they feel you pulling away, they will suddenly transform into the perfect partner. They'll shower you with gifts, say exactly what you've been longing to hear, and swear they've finally changed. Make no mistake, this isn't remorse. It's a calculated move to pull you back into the cycle of abuse. The strategy is simple. You can accept the gestures, but don't believe a single word they say. Look at the big picture. Ask yourself, how long will this perfect behavior actually last? History shows that these sugar periods only get shorter, while the eventual outbursts become more aggressive. Don't let a few grand gestures erase the memory of the pain they caused you just a short time ago. Stay grounded. Keep a cool head. The 19th element is about shifting your focus entirely back to yourself. After years of being in a toxic relationship, you've been conditioned to constantly scan the other person's mood. You wake up and your first thought is, what kind of mood are they in today? Your mission now is to take that spotlight and shine it 100% on yourself. Start asking, what do I want right now? How do I feel? What are my needs? Go take a class, find a new hobby, or finally prioritize your health. The more you fill your life with your own interests, the less room there is for a manipulator to occupy. You need to be the main character in your own movie, while the toxic people in your life fade into the background, nothing more than unimportant extras. And finally, step 20. The most important, radical, and effective tactic there is the no contact rule. If your circumstances allow for it, you must cut this person out of your life completely and forever. Block them on social media, block their number, and don't even respond if they send a carrier pigeon. If you can't go full no contact because of work or children, switch to minimal contact. Keep it strictly business. Use a cold, professional tone and stick to text or email whenever possible. No holiday greetings, no asking how they're doing. This isn't about being cruel. It's a necessary safety measure for your mental health. Only by isolating yourself from the source of the poison can your nervous system truly recover and allow you to start living again. Now we've reached the most critical turning point. What ties all 20 steps together? Here's the real twist. The best way to handle a narcissist isn't by fighting them at all. The secret is to stop being an easy target. The winner isn't the person who shouts the loudest or has the best arguments. The real winner is the person who refuses to play the game in the first place. When you detach emotionally, set firm boundaries, and shift the focus back to your own life, the manipulator loses all power over you. They simply become background noise, loud but irrelevant. To recap, embrace the grey rock method, trust your own eyes and the facts, and never feel the need to justify yourself. Your peace of mind is your ultimate weapon. Thank you so much for watching until the end. I truly hope this knowledge helps you protect yourself. If you found this video helpful, please subscribe and give it a like. It really helps us create more content like this. And finally, let me know in the comments, which of these 20 steps feels the hardest to put into practice? Let's talk about it.